Okay, Shan.
All right. And you guys, if you want to mute yourself, that way any background noise that pops in, we can, perfect. Okay. Well, thanks for hopping on tonight, everyone. This is our December Hake Lumen Region call. We are going to do a little bit different format tonight. We wanted to share with you about the business opportunity, and for any guests that are on the call now or going to be, watching the recording later, we really want to just take this time to share with you a little bit about Arbonne and why we feel it's the best opportunity there is out there. And we also know it's a really, really busy time of the year, and that everyone has a lot going on. So we were trying to think of what would be some top questions, and we asked a few people on our team, and we've just been thinking back and forth, Susanna and myself, about what are some questions people ask when they start or are thinking about starting their Arbonne business. And that's really where we want to roll tonight. We're just going to do a kind of a back and forth question answer session. And then at the end, if you have any questions you want to open up to us, you guys are more than welcome. The thing I will share, though, before we get started is we're not here to convince. We really, and I say that with the absolute most sincerity, because I really don't want to drag or beg or plead to people to do Arbonne. You have to want to do this, and you have to have the drive and the work ethic and the determination to do this. So we're just here to present the information to you tonight and share more about Arbonne, but really in the end, it's your decision. It's up to you whether you want to go after this and make it work. And I will tell you that the only way you can fail in this business is by quitting. So it really is 100% in your hands, but I commend you for getting on and learning more and just educating yourself before you do make a decision. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Shannon Lumen. I'm an Executive Regional Vice President. I've been with Arbonne for about 4 years. And then Susanna Hake is my partner in crime. We're going to be sharing with you tonight. And Susanna we've been doing this together for almost 4.5 years now. And I can say that it has been an awesome, I would say a bit of a roller coaster sometimes, but it's an amazing experience, and it's changed my family's life. And I love partnering with her, and I love that you'll get to hear from her tonight too. So we're going to get started. And I know, Susanna, we have a list of questions. So and we're going to be reading from the questions that we have and just share with you guys. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay. And then at the end, if there's something you think we have missed that would be helpful for people to hear, just that's what we'll open it up at the end too. So, all right. So Shannon, why don't you start with just the beginning, how you got started in Arbonne?
Yeah. Okay. So I met my sponsor, Beth Mullicook, because I was actually her daughter Maddie's teacher. I was teaching 3rd grade. This was back in 2012, and Beth was a volunteer in my classroom. She was, coming into my classroom, helping out. At the time when I started my business, or I learned about Arbonne, I really didn't know much about this industry. I didn't know much about network marketing. The little I did know, I was really naive and thought it was just kind of a cute little side gig or hobby that a lot of stay-at-home moms did to make some extra cash. I didn't realize that you could actually have a sustainable income from this business. And so when I met with Beth, I really didn't know much. I fell in love with the products, but then really the business opportunity is what intrigued me more, because at the time didn't realize, but living in quiet desperation. I loved teaching. I was good at it. I thought that was what I'd be doing for the rest of my life, but I also had a 2-year-old son, and I knew my husband and I wanted to have more kids, but I couldn't imagine having more children and sending all of them to daycare every single day and just living the rat race of the life we were living. And so when Beth said to me, there's more for you out there. You can create your own lifestyle. You can do what you want. You can have time back. You can have financial freedom and flexibility. I really thought she was crazy, because I didn't know anything about this industry. But the more I learned, the more I fell in love with this industry and this company. And just getting going for me was an easy decision, because I did love the products. I did feel passionate about sharing them with people. And the business has just, like I said, it's something I've I failed forward. I learned as I went because I had no business background. I had a teaching degree. And I always say I was good. I'm good with people. I can build relationships. I can get to know people really well, but I never thought I could be a business owner until this came into my life. So, it really was one of those things that kind of fell into my lap, but it was just such a great gift disguised that has completely changed my family's life. And, I've learned so much about who I am and just so much about what I can provide and do for my family. And it's just been really great for us in so many different ways that I'll share more about tonight too. But really, I would say the products are what intrigued me to start. And then I just kind of failed forward as I learned. So does that answer your question, Susanna? Or is there anything else you want me to share?
No, that was great.
Okay, well, why don't you tell me a little bit about what appealed to you about Arbonne and maybe what products you started with or what intrigued you when you started your business to get going with this company?
Sure. Well, some of you know that I was involved in another business when I was approached to look at Arbonne. So I had been with that company for about 10 years and, was in the eyes of that company doing very well and very successful based on my title. But my income at that time was not nearly where I wanted it to be or where it had been because the economy had kind of tanked and people weren't spending money on the product that I was selling anymore. So I was secretly looking for something, but didn't think it was going to be in another network marketing company. And I was thinking about going back to teaching. And I really wanted to support Shannon when she was starting her business, but thought I would just be a really good customer. And I'd come to her, first party. At the time, I wasn't even going to order anything, but I really did want to support her. And what happened was I started using the nutrition products and fell in love. Which you hear this story all the time from people. They try the products and they're, surprised how great they are. And I knew with 3 boys and my husband, we could use a ton of the products. They would really, impact our family in a positive way. Then, of course, because I'm smart, I started asking questions about the income, and the income potential blew me away. Knowing what I knew about the industry, I thought I am definitely in the wrong business, because based on my volume that I was doing in my other company, I could have been making way more money. And, it wasn't always just about the money, but at the time it was, because we were really struggling to get by. So I think what happened when I finally learned that and decided to jump in, the products were already great. What happened was I'm not really someone that's going to do a ton of research. I'm kind of if I like the people and I trust, I trusted Shannon and Beth that, well, they seem fun and I'm sure they're not going to steer me the wrong way, I would have jumped in. But my husband is more about, well, we need to do some research on this. And, he was researching the CEO, and he was wanted to know the financial background of the company and, the financial history and the marketplace demand and all that stuff. And I remember word for word, I was sitting at the table with Beth trying to figure out if this was a fit. And he came up and said, word for word, he said, I see no reason why that you should not do this business. And then he said, knowing how you feel about Beth and Shannon, the support you're going to get, I have no doubt that you can be successful at this. So then I had no excuse, because now my husband's like, oh, this would be great. And I'm, people can do this business without a supportive or ultra supportive partner, but it definitely helped me, and it kind of gave me the push I needed to jump in. So that was really what kind of got me going. Okay, Shannon, how about, this is something that I know a lot of people sometimes think, gosh, the products seem so expensive. They look at the catalog and they kind of freak out. Do people really buy these products?
Well, that's really funny, because I think that was my exact answer to Beth when she handed me a catalog. I was like, you realize I'm a teacher. I can't afford any of this. I think that was what I said to her. And her response back to me was, well, do you want your life to always be that way? Do you want to, because I was struggling to place a 150 order. And I remember her saying, do you want your life to always be that way? And I was kind of like, ooh, no, I don't. So that's for me why I looked at the business. But what I will tell you though, once I learned more about what you're actually paying, because we do have a great membership program, I always tell people, if you are currently not washing your face or your hair, or you don't use personal care products at all, yes, it's going to be an expense for you then, because you're going from buying nothing to buying something. If you're currently shopping at like a box store brand or even like a Walgreens, Target, Walmart brand, yes, it will be an increase in what you're spending, but I encourage you to really think about what you're putting on your skin, because what you're buying at stores that offer, big jugs of lotion at great discounts, there's usually some side effects or hidden ingredients that you probably don't want to be putting on your body. And that's why I just encourage you to learn more about our ingredient policy, what we put in our products, why they're safe, why they're good for your family, why they actually work. Because what you put on your skin is absorbed, and it is a part of your overall health. So if you're using products that don't have the highest ingredient policy, most likely it'll be an increase in pay. But if you're buying products at a department store level, Macy's, Boston Store, Mac, Sephora, if you're shopping at places like that right now, you're most likely going to find that when you shop with Arbonne, it's going to end up being a better deal for you, because we do offer a discount. We do have smarter ways that you can shop and get a deeper discount. And really our like anti-aging skincare, for example, that line, what we pay is cheaper than most comparable department store brands. Like I used to be a huge Aveda Clinique wearer. That's all I used before Arbonne. And Beth encouraged me to go home and pull everything out of my cabinet and add up what I was spending. And I was actually spending more. The difference was I'd go to the mall and I'd buy a cleanser, and then I'd go back, 2 weeks later, and I'd buy a moisturizer and some makeup. Then I'd go back and buy, I think right before I started Arbonne, I bought like a $57 bronzer brush from Aveda. So I was spending all that money. I just spent it differently. Whereas with Arbonne, we teach you how to shop smart, because you get a great discount every time you shop with Arbonne, and it ships right to your doorstep. So if you use products that you're paying at department store level, you're not going to be paying that. It's actually going to be cheaper for you to shop with Arbonne. Plus, you're going to be getting a way better product. I can guarantee that, because the ingredient policy we have behind our products is best in the industry. You're not going to find a stricter policy, and you're really going to get a product that works and you see results from. Plus, we have a 45-day money-back guarantee, which I know I couldn't return anything to Aveda or Clinique if I wanted to. If it wasn't working or I didn't like it, I was stuck with it. So not many other companies can say that as well. And so once I started using the products and realizing how I could shop, I was actually finding I was saving my family money, and ended up replacing a lot of things that we were using with Arbonne and I wasn't buying in the store anymore, or even just with our nutrition line, like groceries. So, I can go on and on and on, but I will tell you, if you care about what you're putting in your body and you do buy good, decent products, you're going to save money using Arbonne for sure.
Got it.
All right. So, Susanna, another thing that we often, I know I get this question a lot. I don't know about you, but do you do parties? And if so, do you have to work nights and weekends all the time?
Well, okay. I think depending on what consultant you ask, you're going to get different answers. Everyone owns their own business, so you can do what works for you. But I personally believe in doing the group presentations. It's what we train our system for success. I think when you, it's not the only thing we do. There's so many great ways to grow your business, but the best part about doing a group presentation or workshop or party, whatever words you want to use, is that you're meeting multiple people at a time, and usually people you don't know. This is how you never run out of people. So if you start with your friends and family and you invite them over, and whether it's a weeknight or a weekend, you got to do it sometime. You can't do it, at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. Most people are working. But you can start with that. You do need to branch out. And I really feel like after 4.5 years, rarely has there been a time where I literally feel like I have no one to talk to about Arbonne. No, I've run out of people. And that's because I do those group presentations. I think because I consider our motto is to educate and empower people. That is best done. We call it belly to belly or face to face, because you really connect with people when you meet them face to face. You deepen that relationship. You really get to know them. You ask questions. I think there's so much you can find out about a person. Yes, you can talk to them on the phone, and we do that, but I think it's better served when you can meet them face to face. I think that's difficult to do over Facebook, to be honest. I think, we would I would definitely say we use technology though. And in the last, 3 years, it's crazy to think of just in that short time how our businesses have changed with the advantage of technology. We can do Skype and Zoom and FaceTime, and you can do one-on-ones. You can do this kind of, this could be a presentation. I could be in my office and I could have 5 people around the country sitting in and listening to this presentation. So, and we're in, all these different countries, so you can do it across the country or across the world. So it definitely is a good thing, but it's not what we rely on, because we really do like that person to person. And then I would say, as far as, nights or weekends, again, everyone's different. I typically would my goal is to do 2 to 3 things a week. So even if it was just 2 presentations a week, I could do 2 on a Saturday, or I could do a Monday and a Thursday night and then have my weekends free. I think it just depends on what works for you and your schedule. I personally like weeknights because there is a definite start time and a definite end time. I don't like to keep people too late, because we all have, either kids to get home to, or you've got to get up and go to work. So I like that definitive time frame of, we're going to wrap up at a certain time so I can respect everybody's time. So I would say that would be my answer to, nights and weekends. And I think I like the consistency of doing, spreading my presentations out versus doing maybe 2 on a Saturday, 2 on a Sunday, and not doing anything for 2 weeks. I get out of practice even after doing this for so long. So I like the spreading it out a little bit. So does that answer that?
Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit, or another question to tack onto that too. So, for you, when you started, you didn't have a full-time job. So I guess what would your advice, or what would you say to people who are working and thinking about starting this business, and like the long-term benefits of buckling down and doing it right now with their job?
Well, I'll use my last business as an example, because that is why I was able to leave teaching. When I started that business, which I did the exact same thing I did when I started Arbonne, I jumped in with 2 feet and I really took it seriously, and was able to replace my teaching income to make that choice. Now, a lot of people will stay at their job. It's a great way to continually meet new people. But, I think if you are working in the nooks and crannies of your day, and, instead of maybe going out for lunch, you're going to work through your lunch break, there are lots of opportunities for you to be able to find time to do Arbonne. Because we don't do Arbonne all the time. It's impossible. I couldn't do Arbonne 40 hours a week. I would absolutely run out of things to do. So I think if you are working a full-time job, this is really just, you kind of eliminate some of those fluff activities that you might do for a short time frame. Maybe you don't watch as much TV, or there's just some sacrifices that are absolutely worth it if your goal is to, create a substantial income, or to leave your job that you don't like, or things like that. So did that answer that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Shannon, what was your process for getting started? And it seems like there's a lot you have to know. So you were a teacher, so you clearly weren't, a scientist or a nutritionist. And how did you learn all the stuff that you...
Or a business owner.
Or a business owner. Or a business owner.
Yeah, I mean, so the nice thing is we do, Beth was there with me. You have that mentorship, you have the training, the support. Now, I was lucky because my sponsor did live 20 minutes from me, so she was able to come to my house and, show me some presentations. I think, Beth helped me with 2 presentations, and then I was kind of off to the races on my own, and I always had her to talk to. And I remember at one point when I think my second month of my business, my husband was like, seriously, like, you talk to her more than you talk to me right now, which was, he was exaggerating that, because I was like a sponge. I wanted to learn, and I had so much to learn. So I was constantly texting, and this was before we had Voxer or anything FaceTime. So I was texting, I would call her all the time, asking questions. I just wanted to learn. And really, I mean, I didn't do this. I didn't start out perfectly. I know I didn't. I know that I always joke I was ignorance on fire, because I didn't have that business sense. I had a people sense. I could talk to people and build relationships, but I had no business sense, and I had so much to learn. So, but I remember when I started, though, it was May, which is the busiest time of the school year for teachers. I had every excuse not to start then because I had so much going on, school year wrapping up. But I decided to jump in, and even with the craziness of an elementary classroom in May, I was able to go district that first month. But the thing that I realized is I had so much support at my fingertips, whether it was through Beth's website, through her, talking to Sidelines. But I also realized that if you are long distance or your sponsor isn't right there with you, you can still have that support via the web, because Beth has an amazing website with so many resources and so much opportunity and so many different things that you can use. I actually have a girl on my team in Peoria, and she said to me last month when we were talking, she's like, this business is really, she's like, you'd have to really almost try not to succeed at this because there's so much information out there for you to watch and listen to and read about. She's like, you just have to get to work. That's really what it boils down to. So, I mean, I don't think at this point in our business now getting started is hard because there are so many resources. It's just about a matter of how hard you want to work and if you want to, make it work. So, hey, Suzanne, I can't see you anymore. I'm seeing Robin moving around. Sorry, I just didn't know if, there she is.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep
Oh, that's all right. I was just like,
I'm busy trying to get cookies done.
I'm like, I didn't know if you guys could hear me too. I wanted to
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean I think that getting started is not, I feel like it's different now. I feel like when we started, even 4 years ago, and I know way back when Arbonne started, it was different because of the technology piece that they didn't have, whereas now there's so much, recordings and calls and almost over too much information, if you ask me. Like I was, so it really just is about like getting going, talking to people, getting in front of people. You don't have to worry about not having enough information because there's plenty of that. So does that make sense?
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, and then, you talked a little bit about when you started your business, why coming from a different network marketing company to Arbonne, tell me why you picked Arbonne over other companies. Like what you like the biggest differences? Yeah,
this one is like a super easy question because as Joyce Dieter would say, #no-brainer. So I jotted down a couple things, and I'm certain that I missed some things. So Shannon, feel free, or anyone else can pipe in because there are so many reasons that this business is smart. But definitely the products are in demand. You can't turn on a TV or open a magazine without seeing anti-aging or nutrition or wellness. It's all over the place. So that was a big one. We have products for every single person in your house, whether they're 2 months old or 90 years old. A lot of companies, and I looked at other companies too, they're very niche. So you might have jewelry or bags that are primarily for women, or, scrapbooking, or those are very much geared towards crafters. So it's just a niche thing. It's harder to find new people. So this is extremely different because it's for men, women, babies, it's for friends, for teachers. So that was big for me. We don't have to stock or deliver. That is awesome. I didn't want to have a house full of stuff. My husband and I did Amway like 100 years ago, and we had product like you wouldn't believe in our garage. Never wanted to do that again. Yeah, that's when we were dating. We did Amway together. So that was a big thing. Everything ships directly to your customer from a warehouse, and it gets to you in about 3 to 4 days. So there's no need to stock stuff. They can get it pretty quickly. And then I think my favorite thing is that it's consumable. So my last business was not consumable product, and so people didn't shop as often as they do. I mean, I don't want to tell people how much I spend on Arbonne every month, but it's a lot. And so I think I have some of the best customers on the planet, and it is amazing to me how much they place. So, I know a lot of them don't have huge families either. So this is the thing. When you meet somebody and they fall in love with Arbonne, they, either shop a couple times a year, some shop every single month, sometimes more than once a month. That is effort done one time, and you're paid on it over and over and over. I mean, I don't even know what is smarter than that. So all of us that have been around for a while can tell a story, multiple stories of like the very first party I did or the very first presentation I did way back. Some of those people are still shopping with us today and have referred other people. So I exerted that effort 4.5 years ago, and I'm still getting paid from Arbonne now. The other thing is I don't have to call and hound people. Did you run out of your shampoo? Are you out of protein? Because they love it. They already are going to go. No, Target doesn't call me when I'm running out of, detergent to say, isn't it time to come get your detergent? I'm out. I got to go buy it. So that is another benefit. I also love that there's no cap on how many people can make it to the top of the company. And with my last business, I got to a certain point and I would never, it would have been a miracle for me to go beyond that because I needed more people to be at a manager level. And it was so lopsided. Arbonne does not work that way. So we're able to, basically by sharing these amazing products with people and growing our network of consumers and educating other people on how to educate others, it just grows exponentially. And it doesn't matter how many people you have. It's crazy cool. So that was something that I really loved. That was a big difference for me. So I'm sure I missed some things, Shannon. What else do you have that like really jumps out?
I think that was great. I
Okay.
really, yeah. I think that, yeah, you covered everything I would have said plus more for sure.
Okay.
You did Amway. That's a nice little tidbit.
Learn something new every day. All right, Shannon, this is, if you would answer what your biggest fears or hesitations were with starting your business.
Well, okay, I guess for me, I mean, I had no business background. So, I was just like, what? Like, for the longest time, I would say this Arbonne thing. Like, I'd tell people I'm doing this thing. I'm like, and then after so long, I'd be like, stop. I need to stop calling it a thing. It's my business, but I had no business background. So I think for me, that was a huge fear, for sure. Another fear, hesitation I know I had was what people would think of me. And when I started my business, network marketing is nowhere near where it is today. And I do feel like there are so many companies out there now, and there are so many people, doing different, taking different avenues or different companies. And so I think that'd be a pretty typical one for people to feel now. But I think that if you truly believe in the product, and if you haven't used these products yet, you need to try them first. I don't believe you can back something you don't believe in. Like, you have to fully believe in these products and this company to do this business passionately. And so if whatever it is you're pursuing, you're passionate about, you can learn as you go. And so for me, definitely the fear of what people would think, not having that business background in that sense. I never really had a fear of, like getting to know people or talking to people, because I do have a pretty like outgoing personality. But I do often have people say to me, well, yeah, you're an elementary teacher. You're, an extrovert. Like, you love people. Like, it's easy for you. You're good at this. And when people say that to me, I'm like, yeah, that's a true statement about me, but you don't have to be like me to do this business, because I can tell you one of my dearest friends in this business is the biggest introvert I've ever met. Like, she's super quiet, super shy, super to herself. And she went region in 6 months. Like, she earned her Mercedes in 6 months, so it doesn't matter your personality. Anyone can do this business. I always tell people it's not about being like the peppiest cheerleader. It's really about being a people person. Like, do you like people? Do you want to get to know people? Do you want to build relationships? Because if you can do that, and are you passionate about these products? If you can say yes to those things, you can do this business for sure. And I think another big one, I think that everyone has, and I know this is definitely a concern of mine, is like, I don't have enough time. And I know that was a concern for my husband. Well, I didn't talk to him about this, so don't do what I did. Like, make sure you talk to your husband first before you start your business. I texted him that I was starting my business. But, the time piece for sure. I mean, I was a full-time classroom teacher. I had a 2-year-old. Husband and I live in Madison. We have no family here. So for us, me starting something else was not in our daily time allotment. So I definitely had to make some short-term sacrifices in the beginning while I was building my business. And there were nights where I didn't want to leave my 2-year-old to go to a party, but I had to, because I knew if I didn't make a change now, nothing in my life would change. I wouldn't have that time freedom. I wouldn't have that choice back. And I kept saying to myself, short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. Something my mentor said to me right in the beginning of my business too is, everybody in life has to pay at some point. So it's either pay now, play later, or play now, pay later. Either way, you're going to pay. And that I really took to heart, because I do feel like, for a lot of moms with young kids, or even moms with older kids, like leaving your kids is never easy. That time away from your family is never easy, but I promise you, you're not going to be gone 40 hours a week with Arbonne like you are with your JOB right now. But if you are willing to put in the time to build your business, you will be blown away at what can happen. And I ask you to give it a fair shot of 36 months. Like, don't come in and be like, oh, I'm going to dabble and tippy toe for 6 months or for 3 months and we'll see how it goes. Like, that's not fair. No business can build and sustain in 6 months or even a year. Like, most businesses don't make it past the 5-year mark. I always tell people to give yourself 36 months before you decide Arbonne's not for you, and give it a fair square by working the system. So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think the time piece, the business piece, for me were for sure big ones. And Suzanne, if you want to add any of yours, if they were different, go for it.
No, that's perfect. That was awesome.
All right. Well, then kind of tell a little bit, what does a typical day look like for you? Like, how many hours per week would you say you actually work your business?
Okay. Well, again, I think this is different for everyone. So for me personally, when I started, I knew I wanted to be a district manager, and I wanted to do that as fast as possible. So I was told it could be done in a month. And so I did that. I would say I was working 12 to 15 hours a week, probably. And I knew I had my sights set on area, because I knew that paycheck would replace my teaching income if I was to go back to teaching, and more than I was making at my last business when it wasn't doing so well. So I would say 12 to 15 hours a week is pretty reasonable for someone who's getting started. And again, it's really difficult to work a lot more than that, and especially in the beginning, because you only know so many people that you start to reach out to. And then I would say now, consistently probably 20 hours a week, but this is what I do full time. And I would say sometimes it's maybe more if I'm spending more time driving to Chicago or doing things like that. But I would say on average about 20 hours a week. And I think people can do that even working full time. If you really look at how many hours you spend doing things that, you could give up for a short period of time, you could come up with 20 hours a week. So if someone was curious of what a day might look like, I would say a typical day, I would spend maybe, 2 to 3 hours. And that's because I can do that during the day. Mailing out samples, reaching out to people, trying to, connect with people on Facebook that I haven't talked to for a while, making follow-up calls with my existing clients and consultants, and booking presentations, checking in with ones that are already booked. It's just a lot of kind of touching base with people and following up. Those calls do not take a lot of time, but it helps to be somewhat organized so that I can be effective and efficient. And that I have my bad months and good months, of course, like most people would. If I have a presentation, one of those 2 nights, that day might look a little bit different, but I still have done my follow-up during the day. And really, the way we teach and train this business is you're very prepared. We don't have to prep food, and we don't have to cut things. And I mean, your bag is your bag. I have my product that's in there. I come home, I set it on my shelf. When I leave for a presentation, I just grab it. Unless something has run out, I don't even touch that bag. And then I have my, catalogs and the things I, take with me. It's all there. So I literally can get ready for a presentation in 15 minutes. And then, it's my drive there, my 90 minutes there. And then, sometimes it's a little bit longer if you meet somebody that really has a lot of questions, and it's your drive home. So I know in the beginning of my business, I was very wordy and liked to talk. And if I had a group that liked that, I would stay longer. But again, back to what I talked about earlier is we try to respect people's time. And you can get in and out of someone's house in 2 hours doing everything if you're really, intentional about that. But again, I like to stay and mingle with people if they need that. So I always like to look at it, in a month of 30 days. My average month has 30 days. If I'm working 8 to 12 times, and that's not days because I don't work a full day. If I work 8 to 12 times in a month, I don't think that's unreasonable. I think that's to make the kind of income that, I'm making now, or even just as an area manager, what I was making, even as a strong district manager, what I was making, to do that kind of work, I think is absolutely, worth it for sure.
I agree.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. This is a good one. What is the hardest part of owning your own network marketing business?
Well, I was thinking about this one. I think the hardest part is one of my now favorite parts too. But for sure, for me, the personal growth I've had to endure and experience through this business. When you first start, you get some rejection. I'm not going to lie to you about that and say, like, everyone says yes and everyone has a party for you and everyone joins your team. Like, that is not how it goes all the time. And it does take some grit. You do have to really grow some thick skin. And for me, that was something that was really hard in the beginning. I took it very personal. I got really upset sometimes when people weren't very nice to me about my business. And unfortunately for me, it was some of the people that I love the most or that were closest, some of my family and really close friends that weren't always super nice to me. But the thing that I love too is like people that I didn't expect were so supportive. Like Susanna, who's now on my team. Like, that's the thing. Like, I went to Susanna and asked her, and Susanna and I knew each other. We were, because her son Tanner was in my classroom, but it wasn't like I hung out with her or knew her outside of just in seeing her in passing at Prairie View where I taught. But she was so supportive. And I had a couple parents of some of my students that were so supportive. And those people fueled me for sure. Like, that kept me going. And then I will tell you just the personal growth I've experienced through this business. Like, when I was in teaching, I got really comfortable and days got really mundane where I felt like, oh, this lesson, okay, I could teach this one with my eyes shut. Like, and the kids kept me on my toes and challenged me, but the content and the curriculum bored me. And I was getting it just wasn't exciting and fun for me. Whereas in Arbonne, I feel like there's always moments where I'm uncomfortable, and that's in a good way because it's forcing me to grow. I have read more books in my adult life with this business. I have read more books in the last 4 years of my business than I have my entire adult life. And I will say that just the amount I've poured into myself to make myself better has not only helped me, but it's trickled amongst my team and my family. My husband has noticed it. My kids notice it. My family has noticed it. I do feel like I am a much, much better person because of the personal growth I've had to really go through and work on myself to really build my business and grow. So yeah, I don't know, Susanna, if you want to share yours, if it's different than mine or anything else you want to add, that's really all I have for that one.
Yeah, I think one challenge that I find even still now is, getting complacent. When you get to a point where you're making a really good paycheck, to realize that this business is more than just you and your needs. And that part of that is personal growth. And it's, hanging out with the people, the quality of people that we get to hang out with. And the focus very quickly when you stick with this business long enough, very quickly can come off of what we all usually initially start this business for, is for the income. And you realize that happens by default. And there are so many good people out there that need this. And so, some days when you're just not feeling it, it's easy to be like, I'll do it tomorrow, where you have to really say, no, there are people out there that need this, and that's not fair, So that's one that I notice at times. And
For sure.
complacency is never good, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think with your letting your family or your whys, like I know my kids are my whys for this business, become my excuse sometimes too. I definitely have to check myself. Especially I just had a baby 6 months ago, and you know, like having Stevie being so young, it's really easy to be like, oh, I need to be home with her all the time. And I really don't need to be. Like, she's gotten more of me than any of my kids ever did in the 6 months of her life because of Arbonne. And she's actually a baby that we had because of Arbonne. Like, we wouldn't have had her if it wasn't for Arbonne, because we wouldn't have had time nor the money for a third kid. But I do agree with you, Susanna, like the complacency piece for sure. And then, yeah, just letting like life get in the way because you have time, because this business does give you time back. So then it's like really easy sometimes to be like, oh yeah, I'll do this instead of, you know, doing this for my business. And so the discipline piece of, you know, making that a priority for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, tell me, we have 2 questions and we're going to wrap up, you guys. Susanna's going to share some of the best advice she would give somebody who is thinking about or starting their business.
Okay, and this one's pretty quick. I would say get plugged in as much as possible. So yes, we have a lot of things that you can participate in, but things like, you know, Monthly Nation or this Discover Arbonne, you know, make sure you are inviting people. But, you know, if you don't have a presentation, get on these. It's just, it fills your cup. You know, yes, you probably hear some of the same things over and over again, but it takes, you know, 21 times to hear something to become a habit. And, you know, it's never a bad thing to hear things again. And you might hear things a different way. So getting plugged in is really important. Come to events, come to the retreats, get to GTC, be coachable, which isn't always easy. You know, sometimes you hear advice or things that you don't really like. It stings a little bit, but it's always said in the best interest of you and your business. So be coachable. I would encourage people to ask a lot of questions. I asked so many questions, I thought I was going to get fired. And then I was like, oh, wait, I can't get fired. This is my own business. But I asked a ton of questions, just like Shannon said. And then I would tell someone, you know, don't use the analogy of like, do you rip Band-Aids off slow or fast? Like, it hurts when you rip it off slow. It only hurts for a second if you rip it off fast. So if you think this is something that could really add value to your life, jump in with 2 feet. Don't dip the toe in. Don't rip the Band-Aid off slow. Just get in. You have absolutely nothing to lose. You know, it's really a win-win situation. And, you know, your first couple paychecks, even before you promote to district, can be really good. And so I think, you know, if that's intriguing enough, I mean, you earn some extra money, but I think if you really dive into it, you'll be pleasantly surprised how great it can be. And then I think I would tell somebody, do what I say, not what I did, because I did not share this business opportunity in the beginning. I was kind of hiding behind the fact that I think I could sell product really well. And man, I wish I would have done things totally different. If you share this business opportunity, which is really our best product, as a gift to other people, it's so much more fun. And when you have a team and when you have people that count on you, it's a lot harder to quit when you have that bad week or that bad day. So definitely, you know, sharing the business for sure would be maybe even number one than all those other things. But anything. Okay. And then Shannon, why don't you wrap up with what do you like best about being part of Arbonne, and keep it, you know,
do we want to wrap up this call tonight? No, I'm joking. There's so many things that I could share, but I definitely think one of my the top thing I really appreciate and just enjoy is just how much I get to watch people grow, and I get to help people in so many ways change their lives. And in turn, it changes my life too. But I just feel like I always knew I had this sleeping giant inside me, and there were bigger things I wanted to do in life. And don't get me wrong, I think teaching is one of the most noble professions. And I knew I made a difference in so many students' lives. But I feel like now with Arbonne, like the ripple effect that can happen because of my business trickling down to so many others and then just being able to watch people grow their businesses, how many lives we can touch. It just really, it blows me away some days thinking about what's happened in 4 years. Like, just think what it's going to look like in 8 and 12 and 16 years. Like, just how many lives we will change and touch together as a team. I do love too how positive it is. Like, I have never been in such a positive work atmosphere in any, I mean, I was in teaching for 8 years before this, but even some of the jobs I had in college and even in high school, like, it's just such a positive atmosphere. And just such a great environment to be, such a great company to work for, and obviously a great product. And then just the people I get to work with, like, I get to hang out with Susanna all the time, and Jenny and Michelle and Beth and Robin and Beth, all you on this call. Like, it's just so awesome that I get to work with such incredible people, and we get to pick who we work with. Like, that for me is, I don't know. I do find myself very, very lucky and very fortunate that I get to always work with and be with such great people. And obviously we get to change many lives while we do this too. And it's fun. So I don't know if I could keep going on and on and on. So I won't, because there are really so many great things. But yeah, so Susanna, do you want to wrap up? And
yeah, I actually did not print off those two names. So basically, you guys, what we're going to do is just, we have two people we want to welcome to our team that have just recently started. And I'll let Shanna read those in a minute. But I want you guys to realize we can quadruple that number. I mean, we want to be reading a page of welcomes. And we know that those people are out there. We all, as a team, have to be bolder in asking people to look at this business, jump on these calls, talk to, set up a 3-way call with Shannon or myself, or just, there is no reason why we can't, have 50 people on this virtual, and they can be all over. That's the great thing too. So hopefully this list will continue to grow. And Shannon, you want to welcome those two?
Yes. So welcome to Danielle Deeschke, Michelle, I'm sorry. I know you told me, but I'm Danielle D. She's a teacher up in the Appleton area, direct to Angie Sanderfoot. And then Lauren Woods in Virginia. She's direct to Beth Rudy. Welcome to the two of you. Danielle, I'm so sorry. I mispronounced your last name. I will buy you a glass of wine when I'm up next time I see you. But you guys, I couldn't agree more with Susanna right now. Like, now is the time to be bold. Now is the time for us to just put ourselves out there. Like, you are all on this call right now, and you know what a difference this business has made for you. So why do we not think it will do the same for so many other people? So share, be bold. We're going to be around a lot of people the next few weeks with the holidays coming up. Don't shy away from what this has done for you and the opportunity it can create for somebody else too. The worst thing they're going to say is no. Big deal. And everyone isn't going to do Arbonne. That's not, we can't all do Arbonne. That wouldn't be very good for our business if everyone did Arbonne. So know that you're going to get no's, and people aren't going to all agree to do this, but how dare you not ask? Because you just don't know what people are dealing with or what they see. Like, if you could have a Shannon Lumen sitting there thinking she needs something else, but never going to admit it until somebody tells her what's out there. You could, so don't let yourself and your ego and your pride and your insecurities stop you from asking people right now, because it's not about you. It's about helping others. And we do, like, Susanna and I want nothing more than just to help you all grow and see you all walking the stage at GTC and being able to help you grow your teams massively for you and your families, because that's really what this is all about for us. And we have the car and we sit in that car every day, but I will tell you that car is a nice little reminder of all the people on our teams that don't have it yet. And every time I turn my seat warmer on and it warms my butt up, I think of all of you, because it does make it just reminds me of how many of you I need to help get there and get that car too. So I don't know. I get super emotional this time of year. I don't know about you, Susanna, but like, we got Andy and I had our 8-year anniversary yesterday. We got married in December. I love the holidays. It's just such a magical time. And I know for me, it feels always, for some people, it's a hard time of the year, but I just think regardless, get out there, ask people, share, love on people, and just be kind. That's the best thing we can do. And go in with no agenda other than to serve and share this opportunity. Because if you have a heart to serve others and you're authentic about what this business presents, you'll leave any conversation feeling good if you just share your heart. There's no losing with being who you are and just being authentic about this business. So
I'm gonna stop the recording quick.
Yeah.